Hey Blizzard Nation, welcome to another episode of Strictly Blizzness. This is number 36 in the books, and I'm coming to you all by myself. My buddy is in Disney, so I brought one of my Disney cups to commemorate the fact that he's hanging out with the mouse this week, so why not do something different? So here's what I got. I got my Disney cup instead of my Blizzard cup, and I got an IFL shirt on. So I figured since Ryan wasn't in the office, I would bring in a special guest star no doubt, to talk IFL business. And so I have with me today, Joey Bonadonna.
Kathy, thank you very much for having me on.
How you doing?
I'm doing great on this wonderful afternoon.
Oh, see, you don't know. Is it morning? Is it afternoon?
Morning, afternoon,
no,
evening.
It's actually afternoon.
Middle of the night?
No, it's
1
not.
in the morning?
No, it's not 1 in the morning.
Oh, okay, well.
What kind of clock are you on?
I don't know. Daylight savings throws me off.
I suppose it would. That's very true. I had a very difficult time.
It was nice
Monday
this morning. I usually set my alarm for 6 in the morning, but it was nice to get up and it feels like 7 a.m. for my internal clock. It was just like, okay, this is nice. I don't have a pounding headache right now, but you know.
Well, when you go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and get up at 6,
yeah,
that's what kind of happens.
So, I don't go to bed at 3 in the morning. I used to, but
oh wait, that's me. I'm sorry. So hey, Joey, a lot of people don't know what it is that you do for the Blizzard. I mean, we've talked about what you've done. You were part of our segment talking to youth about youth and sports and the importance of it. Yeah. And you're kind of a behind the scenes guy for us. You want to tell everybody what it is that you do?
Yeah, so it's starting 2019 season. I will join the broadcast crew. Me and Alex Strofe at the time. I was doing the color commentary, but starting past 2021 season and will be for the upcoming season, I started doing the play-by-play. So it was me, and now I've got one of my buddies, Sam Elkanavicius. I'll give him a
little shout out, Sam.
A little screen time. Love Sam.
That's his 15 seconds of fame.
Yeah, that's it. No more. But yeah, doing the play-by-play on our YouTube streams, and I love it. I definitely, it's the business I want to go into, and to get the start at a young age here is definitely appreciated. And I love the opportunity here.
Excellent. And you do a little behind the scenes on our social media. That's actually how we met.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for those that
do we want to talk about that?
I feel like we've told the story so many times.
Have we? We've talked about it so many times. So we won't get into it.
If you want to hear the story, you can go back to.
It was another episode. Yeah, plus it was when we interviewed you.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. What I want to get into today, because of the 13 fans that actually watch our show. One of them asked a great question, and who better to have answer it, because we all know how much Ryan knows about the game, and I joke about it all the time, but he does know the game, but you know it even more, and it's part of, you have to know the game and know the rules in order to call the game, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, to do play-by-play, you need to know what they're questioning. You might think you know what they called on the field, but sometimes it turns out they weren't seeing what you saw.
Yeah.
So I get that, but one of the questions that we got were, what can actually be challenged by the coaches, because there are times when we challenge plays, just like in all of the other sports that are out there. When does a coach do that? And then what actually can be called on the field? Now, there's a lot of calls. We're not going to get into all of the rules, because that's unpacking that on a 20-minute show. Well, I'm not going to do it. But I do think we should talk about a few things around the rules themselves. So why don't you give us some of the most common that you hear those refs actually calling on the field?
Yeah, so I think the major one that most fans of the outdoor game don't know compared to the indoor game is the illegal defense call. And that was kind of an odd transition for me, doing the Blizzard like into the summer and then watching Packers football in August and the preseason. So one of the major ones that gets called is the linebacker going out of his stance before the snap, meaning that he's like blitzing before the snap into one of the gaps. In the outdoor game, that's perfectly legal.
Doesn't matter.
Indoor game, You have to stay in place until the snap, and then you can take off and run and hit the gap. But yeah, watching the out, it was kind of it was like, oh, that should be legal. Oh wait, no, that's out.
Wrong game.
Wrong game.
Welcome, Blizz Nation. This is your head coach, Corey Roberson, here to talk to you about the rules of the game. All right, here we have a situation whereas we talked about illegal defense inside the 5-yard. Right now, you see we are aligned on the 5-yard mark. You see the defender up top is inside the 5, toes not on the goal line. When the ball is on the 5, the defender has to have his toes on the goal line. Clearly, you see his toes is over the goal line. He's not nearing a receiver. You can see I was pointing to the official, telling him exactly where the guy was standing at. You see the other defender's toes are on the goal line. What sticks out about this play like a sore thumb is that gentleman doesn't have a receiver that he's aligned over. He's inside or almost outside of the belt, which is the box, the belt, which is guard to guard, outside shoulder of those young men. In this situation, and he is not aligned over anyone. So therefore, making it illegal defense and replay a down 5-yard penalty, or in this situation, half the distance to the goal. We have another clip right here. We're going to show you illegal defense, which happened against us. At the snap of the ball, the linebacker is supposed to be stationary. Clearly, you see he has a running head start, as in like the receivers are in high motion. He's trying to get there. That makes that illegal defense on us as well. In this situation, he is supposed to be stationary at the snap of the ball, and then he can move anywhere around on the field. And if he's going to cross the line of scrimmage, he has to go through either a gap, which is either side of the center on the left side or a right side. He cannot blitz outside the 2 guards. But in this situation, he gets a running head start before the ball is snapped. That's illegal defense on Green Bay, and it is a 5-yard penalty, replay of down. Once again, thank you for coming in, tuning in with us. This is your head coach, Corey Roberson, here to teach you the rules of the game. Go Blizz.
Yeah, so that's one that gets called. Then also another one on illegal defense would be if the defensive lineman's not in their position, if they come out of their 3-point stance too early, that is an illegal defense. It's the illegal twist.
I like the twist. It's like a little chubby checker out there. The first time I heard the illegal twist, I was like, wait a minute, what?
So illegal twist, and we were talking about this one before the show, but like, which game? It was the Iowa game, and it was right before halftime, and we were trying to extend the lead, go up by 2 scores, and there was this we were on defense trying to get the ball back to stop them from tying the game. 1-minute warning comes. We just had this big sack, forced fumble, recovered it. Looked like we were going to set up shop and
do what we need to.
And then after the 1-minute warning, the Iowa coach throws the challenge flag, and then they go back into another long look at it. Was this an illegal twist? And it was one that was like, they were far apart, and then they came back together, and then they did the twist, which the twist is basically 2 defensive linemen. One goes
crossing over.
Yeah, they cross over basically. And after the 1-minute warning and after the view, they finally decided that it was an illegal twist. Everything was coming back, and Iowa would get the football back. Big momentum shift, but they ended up winning that game.
But it took forever. And it took forever, yeah. It took forever. And that's really what we have had some rule changes coming into 21 from 2019. That's what we were talking about before the broadcast. So back in 18, 19, you could pretty much challenge everything. I mean, you saw that flag coming out on, it didn't matter what, it was coming out and being challenged. And one of the issues that we have with our game is because I'm not knocking our football fans, because we do have football fans, but the majority of people that are in our stands are families, and that it's regardless of where you go, that it's mostly a family type environment, and especially in Green Bay. So we were having some of our games lasting 3 hours and 45 minutes. We had other other people that were almost pushing 3 hours and 50 minutes because they were constantly having these challenges. And then we would have challenges happening in stadiums where they didn't have replay. So you had to go and find, where the feed is. And, so we changed things over the years that a TV had to be set up so that the refs could go to some TV right off the field. And, so needless to say, in 21, we changed what can be challenged. And the whole reason that we changed it was that we needed to make sure that our game didn't overextend.
Right.
So in 21, what could you challenge versus before? So holding has always been something you can challenge. The trick with holding is you can't have it come up on the screen and then say, well, that's the guy that was really holding. No. This guy over here was called, so that's the only thing you can challenge. You can't challenge something else. So what else can we challenge?
What's the other one? Pass interferences can be challenged. I remember that one. That was at the tail end of the Tucson game, I want to say. Tucson challenge. If there was a pass interference that took a long look at it, that one ended up standing, but that one is one that
the pass interference against Arizona as well, because that was one of our former players that we got. That one was a little more theatrical than most pass interference.
So there's pass interferences. One you were talking about 2019 to 2021. I feel like there's just so many memories with the replay from 2019 that I got to get some of them. Like first game was against.
Oh boy, he's asking for recall.
It was Arizona. BJ Hill had gone up, made a catch up against the wall, went out at the half-inch yard line. There was 0.3 seconds left, but they went back to go review and see if there was time left. But there was no.
We didn't have a camera on it, so we couldn't tell if there was time left on the clock or not.
So there was one. I believe there was a do-over that had to do with.
There was a do-over. That's correct.
There was a do-over in Quad City the week before that stemmed off of a challenge. Just so many fun do-overs against Quad City. I'm looking forward to that.
And they're back.
That rivalry coming back. I loved those games in 2019. That'll be a good matchup this year. But, the definite change between 2019 and 2021 was evident. There's definitely some challenges out there from 2021 that were interesting, but none as interesting as 2019.
Yeah, 19 was definitely the year of the challenge. Coach has said there's a few that he'd like to bring back that currently cannot be challenged. Are there any that you think we should take a look at? I mean, if every arena had the same setup as like an Arizona Rattlers or even us, it would be easier to do some of the things that we should, reviewing every, any touchdown, reviewing it is sometimes easy to do and sometimes difficult depending on camera angles and where people have cameras in their arenas. So not all arenas are the same. And little by little, we're trying to get people to, help with that infrastructure, although you're up against whatever your arena has or doesn't have. I mean, at the Rush, we don't have Wi-Fi. So that's a little tough when you're doing some of the vid swap stuff. But
I'm trying to think of one off the top. I'm trying to think of one that we should. Do you know of any that?
No, because I like the shorter game. It's not that I don't, and we had a lot of challenges this last season with refs. We had inconsistencies. We know why that is. We know where we were pulling these guys from. A lot of them had never done the indoor game. There's a reason why our rules are different than the outdoor game. It's a narrower field.
Yep.
It's a shorter field. So you have to keep everybody in place for a longer period of time, just to give the play time to develop. I mean, that in and of itself is something. So for me, I would rather see the players play. I mean, I don't like dirty play. I don't like people, trying to grab somebody by the collar and, or the back of their helmet or doing something that they shouldn't, the unsportsmanlike stuff that really could get someone hurt. And we did have a lot of that in 21. And we tried to clean that up as the season went on as an ownership group. But for me, I think keeping it to what we do, and coach isn't going to want to hear that. Because of course, as a coach, you're hearing things from who's ever sitting up top. That's your defensive coordinator. He's saying, no, watch what's happening over there. And so I get why a coach would want to do that.
I think, sorry to interject, I think that in itself is interesting. Definitely with where I sit up in press row, usually the visitors is behind me, and I'm hearing them in my ear, and I'm like listening to someone else, like whether it be Sam or Alex or whoever's with me, telling me what they think. It's like, okay,
it's a lot of overload all at once. Yeah. And I said that on our last show that I had gone to see the Last Duel, which is a movie that gives 3 perspectives of the same situation. And really, when you're watching football, regardless if it's our game or any sport for that matter, right? You have the player that's playing, you have the coach that's coaching said player, and then you have the fan, right? And it looks different to every single one of them, right? And then you got that ref that's out there.
It's like, no, agree with me. No,
right.
Why? Come on, our side.
Come on, come this way a little. But did you see? And do you know the rule? So yeah, I like what we did. We did that with a lot of forethought in keeping the game to a reasonable amount of time. It's still very much a competitive game. I don't think it lost anything in the sport. I'm sure when the coaches get together, I believe they're getting together in January or late December, they will definitely try and, propose something from a rule change or a challenge change to get their voices heard a little bit more.
And to go off, I'm trying to think. I felt like in 2021, you kind of had there were a lot of challenges, but it felt like it was kind of narrowed down to a couple. It'll be like challenge the illegal defense, the legal twist, pass interference, stuff like that. I feel like there were less, in 2019, there were more like challenges that were very different from the outdoor game compared to the indoor game.
Yeah.
Like not just your average, it's like challenge for a spot or was it a catch kind of deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
When, it's ironic because a lot of the first couple games where Corey may have tried to challenge or he didn't challenge but wanted to, send something to our head of officials, Mr. Fasinelli, and say, hey, I don't agree with how he called it. And most of the time, Tom will come back and say, well, did you watch the video that I sent out right before the games?
Yeah.
Because what he does is every week he sends something out, and this is for the coaches to show their to show the staff, but also to show their players that this is a rule, and we want to make sure that not we showcase it, but hey, make sure that everybody understands. Well, that same thing is sent to all of the refs. Now, these were all new refs in a lot of cases coming. So what do you think they're going to be watching? That very piece of defense, that very piece of whatever it was that Tom was showcasing. And so Tom would go back to Corey and say, well, that was what I showed you this week. You guys should have been all over that. Is that a good defense? No, not necessarily, but it is something that's key within the IFL that does get sent out to all the teams, whether the coaches watch it or not, that's up to them. The refs have to watch all of that and they get graded on it. So, of course, you should be paying attention to what your head of officials is sending out. My point with all of that is that when you have seasoned refs, and especially if you play with those refs a lot, you know what they let go and you know what they call. Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to get everybody to that seasoned point where you can let the players play the game.
Right.
Playing it safe, playing it within our rules, and understanding the rules. I don't think enough of our refs understood the rules.
And I think that's also not only from a fan's perspective, not from a ref's perspective, but I think that's very different for the players as well. I think when you saw like first couple of games, there are you see a lot of rookies on a team, and you can see the difference of like the discrepancies of a team with a lot of veterans. They know the rules. Guys who are just coming from like college outdoors, never played an indoor before, you can definitely see the differences between which teams have played within those rules for a while and which teams haven't, or what players haven't.
And that's one of those things we've talked about. That's why the vet rule exists, which can be good or bad, depending on what side of that argument you're on. But the whole idea to me for the IFL is if you have a good coach, your coach understands the difference between the outdoor game and the indoor game. So all those rookies that are coming over that are new to the IFL and new to our rules, that should be first and foremost on your list of fundamentals for those guys. And a lot of these coaches have come from the AFL or the NAL, and the rules are slightly different.
Yeah.
And therefore, it takes those coaches time to get acclimated to the rules as well. And some of those coaches back in 19 and what was going to be 20, they did try to adopt some of the AFL rules and some of the other rules. And we said, you know what, play the game first and then we'll talk. So
I thought what was cool from the 2021 season, I do like the added deuce. And I think it was funny because it felt like that was such an added strategy that and I'll give Sam another shout out. It felt like every single time it was coming close and inside the 1 minute warning, he would be like, well, you could try the deuce here. I'm like, we're not trying the deuce and I didn't want to say this on air, but I'm like, they're not going to try the deuce every week. This is something that you try maybe once or twice.
Right. You don't want to get known for trying the deuce, because if you get known for it, it's not going to work. It is something that we were the first to record it in 21. So that was pretty cool. We went down in the record books.
So I think that was kind of because that was Sam's first game there, because he wasn't there for the Bismarck game, but he was there for the Massachusetts game, and he saw it happen. Like, whoa, it happened in the first game. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it.
Like, I like it.
You can't do that. Yeah. But I do like the deuce. It kind of adds an added strategy to the kickoff. And I think what a lot of people can say on kickoffs, football as a whole, from a strategy, from a player safety point, is like kickoffs those are hard-hitting plays. And
they are.
For indoor football being as hard-hitting as it is, kickoffs can be pretty rough sometimes. So,
well, I mean, Ryan and I were at the Packer-Arizona game, and that was a horrible chain of events around a kickoff. I agree. And the NFL has developed rules as well around kickoffs for that very reason. Yeah.
But yeah, having the deuce in there and having a kicker that can pull off the deuce, that's definitely a nice weapon.
And an arena that you can actually kick a deuce, because
unfortunately
so many of them have a scoreboard that hangs down, so it's tough to do that.
I think I read something about a kicker that I wasn't watching that game, but they hit the deuce in the arena that you really can't hit a deuce in. So that was kind of like, whoa, having
that's
that.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else you want to talk about with the season coming up? I mean, 22 is going to be exciting. You've seen the schedule by now, so you know we're staying within conference except for the one team coming to town, which is Vegas. Yep. We thought it was going to be San Diego, but it's Vegas. I'm excited to see Vegas.
Yeah, I am too.
In general, I want to see them here, and I want to see them obviously on the road. Hopefully in the playoffs, we'll be there. It'd be nice to go to Vegas for a playoff. Who are you excited about seeing?
I think I said before, I'm really excited about Quad City.
Like Quad City?
I love the Quad City ride. Like, it kind of felt like the Blizzard kind of had rivalries, but I feel like Quad City is now the closest team to Green Bay. I really like that. Wisconsin, Illinois, kind of like the Packers and the Bears, but having that proximity rivalry, I really like that one. Trying to think, having the team that, if we go back to the 2020 season, was Frisco. We didn't get a chance. That was going to be our first game. I remember talking to Alex at the time about it, and I literally had all my notes ready for Frisco for 2 weeks afterwards. And the joke was like, can't wait to use these notes when we get to see Frisco.
Yeah, well,
we saw Frisco on the road, but we think we have them at home this year.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So
We
Frisco.
both. We go
Yep,
to and from.
to and there. So Frisco, Iowa, having Mogs over there too now. I think
that'll be cool to
that'll
watch
be a- yeah,
Mogs develop.
that'll be a fun one.
I agree. All right. Well, you got anything else for your hopefully not one-hit wonder on being on Blizzness?
No, yeah,
we can bring you back again.
No, yeah, I mean, if you'll have me, yeah. Trying to think of any other questions I can hit you with while I'm here.
Ooh. I didn't say you could ask me questions.
I guess I'll ask my one. So with the playoff, is it's set 1 through 4? Who finishes 1 through 4 in each
Correct.
conference? They play each other, and then
Right.
the winners
Then we
of
have a
those
semi.
Yep.
And then,
So it's not like it's not reseeded like they're how they want to do it in the NBA, where it's just like 1 through 8.
Oh, I see
across
what you're
the board.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know the answer to that question, to be honest with you. My understanding is that you got top two seeds, and then out of that becomes the top 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it that way, there's the chance. I mean, we want to try and have that United Bowl as
East versus West.
East versus West.
Or Midwest versus West.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's the goal. But if
Yeah.
you don't do it that way, then you could have two West
Yeah.
teams playing against each other technically.
Yeah. So, we'll see how it goes. I definitely having more teams this year. I think like we had a lot of teams last year, but I'm having Bay Area and San Diego back. I definitely like seeing those teams back.
Because even though we play people multiple times, when it was over and over and over again, it got to be old. But I agree. I think it's going to be a real cool mix up, and we'll see. We'll see how it all comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to this season. It's going to be a fun one for sure.
Good. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks for being on the show. So I don't think we should do this, because that's mine and Ryan's thing.
Yeah.
But how about a fist bump?
We'll do fist bump.
All right. Well, now
Oh, yeah.
we got
I
to cue it up.
No, I got it.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's you say the words and then you do the fist bump. All right. Do you know what the words are?
I'm trying to think. I think I remember.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't know the words. It's just go Blizz.
Yeah, I was like 90% sure, but I didn't want to
All
be
right.
wrong.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Go
Blizz.
Don't forget to like, follow,
Subscribe
share.
and ring that notification bell to get all of our content in your inbox.